Hi Nandini, hope we are
Nandini, can you
audible.
hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Hi.
Good.
Hi, Lavina. Hi, Sanjay.
Okay.
Hi, Nandini.
Yeah, I just had just a one or two few questions, just clarifications really.
Okay.
Um, you were talking about, when you say that uh, Vinny gave that number, 1,000 crore is the hit that the auto component industry is likely to take because of the chip shortage, going by ICRA's estimates of 5 lakh 5 lakh units lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just want to understand this 1,000 crore hit is primarily passenger vehicles, right? Because two-wheelers have not been that badly impacted.
Yes. So
So,
yeah. Go on.
yeah, no, so sorry.
No, go on.
So, what would the hit on two-wheelers be really? I mean, is there an understanding of whether the chip shortage has hit two-wheeler industry at all, or it's mostly because of the demand side problems?
It's actually a demand from the at the how do you call it, entry level two-wheeler segment. That's really where the problem for two-wheelers lies. Not so much of a chip shortage, but the demand from a entry level segment.
And when you talk about, you spoke about China plus one and the investments that have already been made by the auto component industry. Is there an understanding of how much of the investments toward overall capex in the industry has gone towards this China plus one kind of capabilities?
So when you look at the China plus one, what's happened is you've seen our exports increase to 70 from growth of 76%. And that's really
Yeah,
come from, I'm not trying to allude to the fact that companies in China will shut down and move production, but
yeah.
additional manufacturing opportunities that lie, additional procurement opportunities will come to India. And we've seen that in way of the way the international purchase offices, which we call the IPOs, are working closely with ACMA. There are several international purchase offices from OEMs as well as tier one suppliers that are working closely with ACMA membership to
Hmm.
source more and more components from India to export. That all becomes part of the China One Plus strategy from our understanding, because the number of exports are increasing. I won't be able to put a value in terms of, investment value that companies have made because, they don't make it specifically for China One Plus One. Having said that, now when you go into the PLI scheme, we'll see that specific
Hmm.
investment in future technologies, specific investment that gets a PLI benefit. But so far, it's been a mix of investment towards capacity as well as a mix of investment towards technology. So it's a,
Right.
and I won't be able to put a value term to that specific to the China One Plus.
Also, this raw material costs going up so sharply, um, and as we've seen, it has already started to take a demand bite as well, particularly in two wheelers. How badly has it pinched, export margins and in the segment
So
in component?
a lot of the steel is a pass through. Which is very good for the component industry, where the OEMs pass through with a lag what steel price increases. But overall, some components, some OEMs don't. So there is a percentage depending on how much of the raw material is steel or other alloys. I don't know.
Hmm.
Sorry, give me a second. I disconnect this call. Yeah. It depends on how much of the segment is, utilized. I mean, how much of the raw material prices. So there is a percentage of raw material price increase you'll see, which will definitely impact the EBITDA margin.
Hmm.
But overall, it's a pass through, which will definitely help.
Okay. And when you are
Really
talking about
depends from,
optima,
this again depends from company to company. It depends on who you're supplying to. It depends on what component, whether you're a component manufacturer or an assembly manufacturer. So there are many variables to this. I can't put a number of it, but yes, material price will impact the EBITDA margin marginally, if you're not getting a pass through. But in most cases, you do get a pass through.
okay. One more question. You talked about aftermarkets doing very well, up 25%. But if I compare it, it's actually only gone up to FY 2020 levels. So just barely before the
Yeah.
pandemic. It
Yes.
hasn't really gone back to the highs of over 8 billion, which it used to be, I think, in
10 billion.
2007,
Used to be 10
8.
billion. 10
Yeah,
billion.
and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also 8.2 billion, 8.5 billion as well
So,
in 2016, 17, 18.
so I think it's at about nine something, 9 billion. 9 point, no, that's maybe the export. Okay. So, the fact is that we have been through, a low base year in 2020, and therefore we see growth numbers the way they are. So given the fact that it was a low base year, we've had great growth, and we're really
Mm.
looking at how we can achieve growth again, coming from the pandemic, coming from the challenging time we went through with 3 months of lockdown. But again, aftermarket again is slated to grow. Used car sales are increasing as well,
Yeah. Mm.
and that's definitely going to have a positive impact on the aftermarket business.
Mm. Okay. One last question. Um, Overall, in terms of the industry of growth, you were talking about a 10 to 15% for passenger vehicles only, or you
No,
were talking about
sorry, that's
overall component industry?
I correct that. That's 8 to 10% passenger vehicles is our expectations based on the first half of the year. Again, I'm
Uh,
being specific to say based on the first half of the year. Our growth
mm,
expectation for Pascar was 8 to 10%, is 8 to 10%. And our growth expectation based on the first half of the year performance in the component sector is 10 to 15%. Of course, anything can change given the fact that there are headwinds. We have short-term challenges. And again, I want to specify that the medium and long term of the industry looks very good, very positive, very solid. We do have some short-term challenges, like we do in any industry, and we're facing those short-term challenges at this point in time with the headwinds. Given the fact that the macros in India are very strong, you're sitting on companies with very low debt, low lever, and low leverage, and therefore high consumption patterns as well. We are confident that from a medium to long term, the automotive industry will do exceedingly well. Um, we do have short-term challenges. There's no doubt about it. There are headwinds with regard to chip shortage, logistics, raw material, fuel price, and I think these will level out, over a period of time, and we'll be back to growth numbers.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was nice talking.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini. Thank you, Sanjay.
Pleasure.
Thanks. Thanks.